Hello, everyone, and welcome to We Are One, You Are Two. This is episode 6 of the only podcast recorded live simultaneously in 2 time zones. I am your host, Robert Fanzo. Alongside me for my journey this week is my co-host, and man that I gave my 20% off coupon to, Matt Rhodes. Matt, how are you?
I'm fantastic after I got that coupon, man. That 20% off saved me a bunch of money on my Monster Hunter World download.
Perfect.
So thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know, this is a podcast where we talk about video games. We talk about PlayStation. Sometimes we talk about other stuff as well, like hockey. This week, though, we have an amazing show for you. We're going to be talking about what we've been playing. We're going to talk about some PlayStation news, a few things that are kind of big that happened, and we're going to talk a little bit about gambling, loot boxes, and timed events. And then we're also checking with the readers, talking about the PS drop. And then, Matt, I have a special game for us I prepared at the last minute. I didn't even tell you about it, so we're going to play that a little bit later on. You have no idea what's coming.
I don't.
No, so we're gonna surprise you with that later on. We're gonna hit that up. Remember, guys, that we do post these episodes every Sunday evening for Patreon supporters first, and then starting last week, we fell a little bit behind, but we're gonna post this every Sunday evening, Monday morning, and then everyone else will get it Tuesday and Wednesday, depending on what service you're on, whether it's iTunes or YouTube will go up on Wednesdays. Just a little bit of house cleaning first. Happy birthday, Dave, our audio man. His birthday was a couple of days ago, and so happy birthday to
you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear David. Happy birthday to you.
So we appreciate him hanging out with us and doing that for us every week, and hopefully he didn't do too much editing on his birthday. So, Matt, we're going to start off the show kind of like we always do, but I want to talk about what have we been playing this week.
Oh, well, we have been playing Rocket League, of course. It's always Rocket League.
I'll chime in real quick and say I haven't touched Rocket League at all this week.
That's on you, man. That's on you. They had a massive update, and I played the crap out of it today. To my detriment, but I played way too long today. But no, Monster Hunter World for sure has been our probably go-to this week.
Yeah, it has been. I'll jump back to Rocket League just for a second. What rank are you at?
Good Lord. I think I ended at Diamond 2. I had a guy that was like Grand Champ that was helping me out. He or not Grand Champ, maybe a regular champ, whatever. He helped me out and got me to Diamond 3. And then him and I lost the very next 3 games, and I dropped right back down to Diamond 2. And he's like, all right, I'm done with you. I don't know. That
sounds about right.
I was playing like absolute poop. I don't know what happened. It was nuts. I feel like the longer I play that game, the worse I get. I feel like I need to play it in like hour spurts and then just like leave. And I'm terrible. I'm absolutely terrible at leaving after like 2 losses, because I just keep playing. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get the next one. I probably lost 10 to 15 in a row.
So it sounds like you have a gambling problem. So maybe the topic of conversation would be perfect for you.
Yeah. Oh, I do have a gambling problem when it comes to Rocket League. And the topic of conversation is going to be right up there with it.
Oh, yeah, I haven't touched it. I know they did the soft reset with the servers, and so I'm going to get back into that, which is kind of funny because I was actually trying to get my solo rank, and I only got 7 games, and so I don't know what that's going to do for that. But I also, I've been playing Monster Hunter World with you. We did a Let's Play, which we'll have up. I'm in the process of editing it, so by the time you're listening to this, it may very well be up on Patreon. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that on all our Let's Plays. I decided we're going to do a week early for all Patreon supporters, and then it'll go on YouTube the following week.
Nice.
And then there'll be special episodes of Let's Plays where we just leave them for Patreon supporters at the $2 tier and above. So I've also been playing a little bit of Celeste. I'm still working on that.
Oh, yeah. How far have you gotten in that?
I'm in the hotel. I'm hoping the guy cleaned the hotel, the weird, creepy guy.
Oh, yeah.
And so I got all the doors or whatever they were. And now I'm working on, I guess, the clothing gets cleaned up next.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Right.
So I've been too busy. I mean, honestly, I spent 20 minutes on a strawberry here, 10 minutes on a strawberry there. So I'm still working on that. And,
for sure.
eventually I'm going to get back into Prey and Neo and Persona 5 eventually.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is now his backlog. He will not get back to those games.
Won't. No, Persona 5 I will.
That's what you think.
Let's be honest. Monster Hunter World takes at least an hour to get a mission done, right? And
for sure.
Or you have to devote at least an hour to by the time you gear up, go out and do it. And so Persona 5 is the same way. It's not worth playing in 10, 15-minute spurts, whereas Celeste, I can go through half a level in 10, 15 minutes. And so I'll get back to it eventually. I do want to get Shadow of Colossus too, but
I will say the one thing nice about Celeste is you can save anywhere.
yes.
And that is super great because you can just pop in for a couple minutes, do a level or two or whatever, and then be done with it. I have gotten past the hotel. I'm pretty close to the end here actually, and God, it's really quite emotional, actually. It's really good, and it's just the story as like clearly this kid developed it as like a homage to his sister, who clearly suffers from anxiety, and it's just blatantly written into it, but not at all in a bad way.
Yeah, it's pretty evident from the beginning, and so that's not really spoiler territory there, but it is pretty evident from the beginning. And so I'm sure we'll talk about that game in the weeks to come. I'm sure we'll talk about Monster Hunter in the weeks to come. We're going to talk about that with the topic of conversation a little bit more too, because that is such a big release. All right, so this is time for PlayStation News. PlayStation-News, as I like to call it, PS-N. It's where we cover the news of PlayStation and sometimes the world beyond from the past week. I have about 10 items on the list. Not too bad of a week.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
No. After the first one I'm going to touch on is after we recorded last week, a new Far Cry 5 trailer dropped, and the season pass was announced. And I wasn't necessarily too pumped about the story trailer, but that DLC season pass is actually what has me excited.
Yeah, I've never been super into the DLC of Far Cry because usually they just put out another game, right? Like usually that's their MO. They'll put out like a game, and instead of being like a DLC, they'll just have like another game like a year later, like less than, and then they'll wait a couple years to release a new one. Well, it wasn't Bloodline. It was technically, I guess, a DLC, but it was
Blood Dragon?
Or Blood Dragon, yeah. Wasn't it wasn't that more of like a standalone game?
No, well, it was an expansion, but I think you did have to have the base game. Okay. It was an expansion DLC, but you had to have the base game to play. I might be wrong about that, actually. I take that back. I think you did have to. You couldn't have a standalone. Yeah, I think you did. I'll have to double check on that, but I'm pretty sure I think you are right. It was standalone.
Yeah, I thought you could just do it by itself. But I mean, and then, of course, there was Far Cry 4 and then Far Cry Primal. Mm-hmm. And Primal had some great, mechanics built into it, different kind of things with like the hawk, or the owls rather, and how you could do recon on the camps and stuff like that. That was really cool. And I'm sure they used some of that for 5, but it was basically built on the same engine, right? We'll see how it goes, but I mean, I do think that for the season pass, these do look like pretty awesome things. I mean, the 3 that they've picked should be very interesting, and they look really cool.
Yeah, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. Number 2, Major League Baseball, right? MLB, the show, had a trailer also drop this week. And it revealed that you possibly, or teased anyway at the end of the trailer, you could play as Babe Ruth, which is kind of
the Sultan of SWAT himself.
Yeah.
Baby Ruth. Oh, man.
That might be cool. I mean, I might actually check that one out this year. I'm never a big baseball fan, but that'd be kind of neat to try that out.
I mean, yeah, why not? How cool is that, right? Just kind of have those legends, I'm sure, just based on, statistics and history books they can put together a relatively well-rounded player in the game.
I mean, maybe this is the marketer in me, but I would think then you'd open up for future DLC of future legends, right? Hank Aaron, Nolan Ryan, things like that you could do.
Yeah, for sure.
Number Number 3, Sony Gold headset is going to get reworked and re-released. And so it's going to be upgraded a little bit. I didn't read too much into it, but I just thought...
That's the one we have, right? The Gold is the one we have?
We do have the Gold.
Yeah.
And I looked at the design a little bit. It looks a little bit lighter, a little bit more comfortable. I didn't pay too much attention to the specifics, but that looks like that might be nice. So if you are interested in a Sony Gold headset, you might want to check that out. Number 4, Yakuza 6, which I mean, they just released Yakuza 0 last year.
Yeah.
And 5 right before that has been delayed, but there is a demo incoming. And so Yakuza 6, The Song of Life, was delayed to April, but you can still check out the demo that's coming soon.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, that was more your thing than mine. I wasn't a big Yakuza. Not that it was bad. I just never got really into it.
I'm trying to remember. I was thinking about that. I don't think I've ever touched a Yakuza game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, I mean, you might be thinking of, I know I was real big into Sleeping Dogs.
Yeah, that's probably what I was thinking.
And that was awesome, but which they're making a film out of, supposedly, as well. That's still in the works. But
I thought it was 3 or 4 that you were really into.
I don't ever remember touching one of those. I don't know. They didn't appeal to me. Number 5, this one for old school Sony fans, and I know I've been so tempted to check out the Insane trilogy, but Crash Bandicoot is rumored to be getting a new game in 2019, and it may be multi-platform.
Why not? You know what I mean? Why has it not been long enough? Like, why not a Crash Bandicoot? Is it they're just afraid that it'll fail? I don't think it would.
Well, you can kind of see this coming because Sony obviously remastering all 3 of the original trilogy.
Yeah, exactly.
It was kind of like them testing the waters to see, and it's so, I think if I remember correctly, the month it came out, it was out for a day, and it was the top selling game for that month.
Nice.
And so I think, the rumor says that it's probably going to come to Switch as well, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get a new one, and I'd be pumped about that. I'd check that out.
So here's the question, though. What do you think they're going to do as far as difficulty? Do you think they're going to make it like the original, or do they think they're going to dumb it down a little bit?
I don't know. I think you do. I think you pull a classic mode and I don't know if you want, whatever mode you want to call it, right? But you put a classic mode in there, and so
yeah.
I don't know how much more programming or modification that would take, but you
because I remember
at
least I remember like reading things about like when the Insane trilogy came out that people were like, man, we forgot how hard these games were. Like, this was not an easy platformer.
Right.
Maybe it's just that we're older.
Well, it's also because we grew up. I mean, we're that generation that grew up with games.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that we just forgot, like everybody else. And I do think you have a whole new generation who don't know that either, right? Because I think about Dark Souls is considered hard, but boy, I would take Dark Souls any day over Contra.
Yeah.
I think about how difficult Contra 2 was I think it was on the Genesis. I had it on the Super NES, and I wanted to blow my brains out. I never could make it past the first couple stages.
Oh, Contra. That's why you had to use the cheat code, man. You had to use the cheat code to get the 30 lives. Oh, yeah. And even then, you could still only make it to like the third world or whatever.
Yeah, I went to an arcade recently and I played one of the quarter machines. And I mean, I know quarter machines, the point is to get you to spend money, but
yeah,
and it's unfair difficulty. But that's hard. That's unfair hard. That's not Crash Bandicoot hard.
True.
Number 6, you mentioned this, and it came out last week. I think right after we had recorded. But CEO of Sony is stepping down only months, actually, ironically, and coincidentally, I should say, after his Twitter account decided to step down from tweeting. He said, I was reading some of those tweets, I believe it was last week or the week before, from that account, and he said he was going to step down in 2018, and then here a couple days later, or over a week later, Kaz Hirai, I apologize, is announcing that he's stepping down as CEO, and the 2018 will also be his last year. And so
you're saying, but this is from his real Twitter account that he said this. Is that correct?
Well, this was a press release.
Okay. Well, no, I mean like the well, you're saying that like he decided to stop tweeting or whatever. Well, that was from the real one, right?
That's the fake one. It decided to stop tweeting in 2018.
Oh, really?
He said he was going to retire after E3 of this year, I believe, if I remember correctly. And then here, the real CEO comes out 6 months later and says he's going to retire and step away later this year. So that's coincidence? I think not.
I know, yeah.
Number 7, I don't know if you got to see this one yet, but a new Battle Royale game by X-Stalker devs. It's a Chernobyl-based battle royale game. Has been announced. It's called Fear the Wolves.
Ooh.
And so it's going to be in the vein of Fortnite. It's going to be in the vein of PUBG. But instead of just doing that, you're going to be in the radiation-ravaged Chernobyl.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and you have to watch out for deadly anomalies, right? And a dynamic weather system.
Sweet.
And so that sounds kind of cool.
Maybe some acid rain.
Yeah. It sounds like what it's going to do is basically be feeding off of that craze that is right now.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
I love Fortnite.
Not my kind of games. But I mean, that sounds like a cool thing. I like the setting for sure.
Well, yeah. Well, it will be your type of game after we do our Fortnite Let's Play. All right. So, number 8, Star Wars Battlefront. Wow. What can I say? That's what happens when you abbreviate BF on your notes. Battlefront 2.
Star Wars Best Friend 2. Yay!
Best friends 2, hey. Come make a best friend.
Could you imagine that game? Star Wars Best Friend 2. You gotta befriend a Wookiee.
Befriend a Wookiee using a Star Trooper.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, Battlefront 2. What happened here was the devs have hinted at Clone Wars DLC and customizable characters, and as well as Conquest mode. And that story comes via IGN and through. Actually, they were responding to requests on their Reddit forum. So we talked about that last week, I believe, or the week before, with Assassin's Creed: The New Game Plus, and how Reddit has been kind of influential.
Right, the new determining factor of what developers are developing.
Yeah, and so here, they're going to work on getting to that. And so for Battlefront fans, that should be exciting.
Isn't the whole point of the Clone Wars that they're the same?
Yes, I didn't. I just closed out the article, but I think it had to do with maybe character customization in another way. But
sure, but I mean, they all look the same. They're clones, are they not? It's just,
they do.
I don't know.
There's some angry Star Wars fan right now out there yelling at us.
Yeah. What do you mean? No, there's individual clones. There's just like a lot of them.
You sound like one of them.
Well, yeah.
I meant the clones, not the fans. Yeah, but that too. Let's see, what else? Oh, number 9. So we're trucking through here. We're getting this done. New firmware update for PlayStation 4 5.50. The features have been detailed. And so, again, this is not always I get my news there, but it was just easier this week. IGN. And so things like organization options, the ability to customize your UI, super sampling mode for PS4 Pro. This one I thought was interesting. Playtime management allows parents to, quote, check and manage playtime as well as impose restrictions so games can only be played for a set amount of time or within set playable hours. So a notification will pop up and tell you to save as your time's running out. But you can also add extra game time via a smartphone or a PC, or you can optionally log them out remotely.
Wow. But what about those games that you can't really save? Like,
guess your SOL.
Right? Yeah, I mean, as a kid, I guess you can't go through the hardcore mode of Wolfenstein 2.
Well, as a kid, if you're playing that, your parents probably have bigger issues than you worry about your time limit.
They probably don't really care that much how much you're playing.
Yeah. The library, too, is going to be significantly more organized with the addition of this PS4 tab to show apps and games installed on the console. So you can separate, you know how right now it's like a huge mess.
Yeah.
And so you'll be able to separate that out. Games are going to be split into further categories, all kinds of good stuff.
Cool.
I'm pretty excited about that because I do like that kind of stuff. You can also stream or listen to music while streaming on PS Now. Not that anybody subscribes to that. Oh, and you can import custom wallpapers via USB.
Ooh.
Now that is awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'll be making a Nier Automata one.
Oh, you would.
I can't help it. 2B's, my girl. All right. Number 10, just a quick one here. I had thought about purchasing and playing the original, and so maybe I have to now. Surge 2 was announced for 2019.
I have no clue what that game is.
That is the one that's like Dark Souls with sci-fi robots.
Oh, yeah. I do know that game. I played that demo, and I was like, hey, you would really enjoy this because it's like Dark Souls. Therefore, I hate it.
And I played a little bit of it, and it just didn't grab me right away. I played the demo, it's like you did. And I think it was the problem, truthfully, is I know if I bought it, it would go straight into the backlog.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a game that I need to jump into right away. And so I'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
All right. That is it for PlayStation-news. So let's move on. Matt,
Yes.
It is Toko time.
Ooh.
Topic of conversation. Oi! Add an O to the end this week. Because Toko sounds better than talk.
No, I like talk because it kind of like sounds like you're saying the word talk like we're talking.
Yeah, you're right.
But
I've just been in a taco mood, so when I wrote that, I was like, taco.
So it really just has to do with your cravings for food. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. I had tacos today. So this is a segment where we're talking in depth about subjects of interest for the week or from you, the listener. We do have some listener mail we're going to get to in a little bit, but I thought we would start off. I know, right? That means if you guys write into weare1ur2@gmail.com, find us at our Facebook page, tweet at me at PSGamerFans, any of that stuff. Heck, you subscribe to Patreon and donate a couple bucks. Guess what? I'll pick your topic for that week.
Oh, man. That's sweet.
I know. So we got a little listener mail. All right. First, though, let's go ahead and talk about the topic we were going to discuss, and then we're going to hit on that one as well. So we wanted to re-examine a topic that was in the news a few weeks ago, right? You wanted to talk about gambling with loot boxes. So why don't you tell us what you were thinking about with that?
Well, the one thing I kind of looked into, and this ties in a little bit to the firmware update, or, maybe because maybe this is what they could do with it. But, I had that Rocket League update. So there's new crates, of course, and crates are 100% just gambling, right? You're spending $1 on the crate. They only give you free keys, or in this case, decryptors, when there's these events. Well, and then once you have, if you use one of those said decryptors, you can not trade that item that you get. Whatever you get from the crate using a decryptor, which is a free key, basically, you can't trade. So you have to buy keys. And the keys are about $1 a piece. Unless you buy them one at a time, then they're $2, which who would ever do that? That's stupid. But so they're $1 a piece. The crates themselves are completely free, but you have no idea what you're getting. And I don't know if maybe I haven't researched enough to know whether Psyonix puts this on their website or not. Like
the
whether,
odds?
like the odds, yeah, exactly. But I mean, I feel like as far as that goes, that they should, right? There should be some kind of level of transparency there. Someone, I think, figured out that it's about, for like the black market stuff, it's like about 1 in 100.
Okay.
Last time I checked, which that's a lot of money to spend on a game, right? I'm not saying that I haven't put money into it, because I definitely have, and it's been worth it. I've enjoyed the money that I've spent on it. I think it's a game it's really good, and I really think that it deserves me supporting it. However, at what point does that become, kind of shisty, kind of shifty when you're doing this and it's, 12-year-olds, 15-year-olds playing this who don't really have money or are using their parents' credit cards. And I looked up on PlayStation.com about it today, like if there's any kind of parental controls setting this kind of a thing. And basically they said no. Like there's the agreement that basically says that the new agreement basically you have to give a birth date for. So Sony has basically covered their butts in saying that, well, if someone changes the date and forges their actual birthday, we're not responsible. As most websites do, right? That's like the normal thing to do. Mm-hmm. And I was reading into it, and they were basically saying that, we don't take responsibility if your kid lied about their age and then used your credit card. We don't refund any of that money because that they breached the agreement and that makes the thing like null and void or whatever, basically.
That makes sense. I mean, because you also sometimes, let's be honest, you have people who go the other way with it and who go, well, my child must have done that. It wasn't me.
Yeah, exactly. Right. No, for sure. And that's what I mean. All of their actions make sense for sure. And you can create a sub account, which basically denies them access to purchasing.
Right.
But shouldn't the onus also be on the games themselves to, and obviously people would lie, right? It's not going to be a perfect system, but shouldn't the onus slightly be on the games themselves to kind of put like an age limit on, like, okay, well, this is what you can do, or this is what you can't gamble with this, but maybe like if you're this age, you can earn decryptors more regularly, but it's still like a non-tradable thing, which I don't think would exploit the system per se. I'm sure people might sign in as younger, so that if they could get free, ways to open up free crates. But if it's not tradable, they're not making any money off of it anyway, so why do they care?
Right.
Other than customization. Because, there's a whole marketplace for this, right? There's a whole, it's called they're called black market decals or black market goal explosions, and there's a whole black market for those things, You can go on to websites that tell you exactly what these items are worth.
Yeah.
Because of their rarity or whatever.
The interesting thing about the whole thing and the whole debate, I think, is the reason why is gambling or not is because you do have games where it's like Rocket League, where a lot of it's cosmetic. And so, right. I mean, that's the other thing too, right? There's a separate idea between paying for something that's pay to win and you're guaranteed to get it, and the randomization of loot boxes. And the randomization is where I think it becomes problematic for a lot of people, right. Because then it's not, it can be, whether it's cosmetic or pay to win, if it's randomized, it is kind of like gambling in that way. The reason that a lot of it doesn't count is because you don't win anything with a real world value in a video game, right? And this is actually, I was just looking at an article on VG 24/7, where actually apparently Sweden is investigating classifying loot boxes as gambling. And that article actually says, quote, "The fact you don't win anything with a real world value in video game loot boxes is the reason why they don't automatically fall under gambling in most countries, and is why they're excluded from Swedish gambling laws." And so if the investigation does indeed find enough similarities, which many argue there are, the law will be updated to include them. And that's end quote. And what I find interesting about that is I think there's a very strong point to that you may not win anything with real world value, but you are certainly spending money on a chance opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, think about all the Vegas games that you can play. They're all games of chance, right? And you're spending money. Now, you're not winning real money, so of course it's not gambling, but what you are doing is this is where maybe my point would be, I think there's a difference between winning something that advances you in the game. So you look at how Battlefront 2, people were upset about how it felt like you were gambling to get upgrade and weapon stuff,
to get the
weapon
whole game, really,
crafting stuff, right? And so you're basically, if you just have enough money to spend, you're top of the line with the character, because you probably also have the hero characters before everyone else.
Right.
That is the equivalent of, I think, winning something in the real world, because it is rewarding you not with money, but with an opportunity to be above everyone else, to play better than everyone else. Now, if it's cosmetic, like a lot of the Rocket League stuff is with the explosions, or Overwatch with their skins, honestly, I don't consider that gambling in any way, because even if it's randomized, at least I'm not getting an advantage out of it. I know going into it, I'm just getting something that's fun. Yeah. And I think that really that's why Battlefront 2, I think that's why Destiny 2 and things like that can fall into that category if it leans that direction. Yeah. Which, they've gotten it wrong, obviously. And it's funny that this story came out from Sweden because, last week I mentioned about loot boxes being added back to the game in the coming months. And so I think what we're going to find out is that they're probably just going to be purely cosmetic. I think the heroes will be different and everything like that, because they'll want to avoid that gambling issue. And they'll say, well, look, you're not winning anything to advance yourself in the game above anyone else. We've decided that it's just going to be pure cosmetics.
No, that makes sense. I like that take on it. Like, you know, that if it's completely cosmetic, it's not really real world value, right? It's just, oh, I look cool, or I look...
Right.
It's not like you can resell those in the real world.
Well...
You can trade for a real world. The one thing I will say, though, is you can kind of trade for real world money, right? Because keys actually cost money. So if you're trading for keys, you know, say you're trading up items that are specifically nothing, right? You're just getting people to, like, you know, you're like giving people crates, or like, you know, or other like lower cost items to get to something that's higher, or something that's worth like $100, you know, 100 keys. If you're trading up to that with 0 funds and you get 100 keys for that, that's still real world money, right?
Yeah. And actually, it's funny you mentioned that, because there are a lot of PUBG, PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds websites, where you can take your items and gamble with them. Yeah. Right? You can sell your skins. You can... I read an article or heard something a month ago where somebody paid like $400 for a hat, but because it was a rare one that was dropped, it's earned, and somebody really wanted it, and so, you know, now that's not PUBG's fault. That's a gambling thing that has arisen out of that, right? Sure.
But I mean, well, that's the thing with this new, they're doing like a tournament mode with Rocket League. I fully expect them to do that. I fully expect them to be like, it'd be like a poker thing where they have an ante of, you know, a topper or a decal or whatever, and that's your ante into the tournament, and then the winner takes the prize, right?
Well, yeah, then that sounds like gambling, right? Yeah. Well, no, actually, I take that back. If it's a tournament, it's a game of skill then. Right. And so I take that back. That would not be gambling.
And that's why they would get around it. But, you know, it's certainly what it seems like that's why they're developing this mode, in my opinion. I haven't read up on the mode itself that much, but it just seems like, why would you play in these little tournaments with each other if there's no prize at the end of it, right?
I agree. Yeah, and so that falls under game of skill, because then you're competing, right? That's the problem with Battlefront 2 is you are competing within game, but you're purchasing items to complete that, right? Or you're gambling for items to complete that. And so,
exactly.
Yeah, that's where that line, it's a weird fine line. I don't expect lawmakers to ever get that fine with it, but
for sure.
That's how I see it. Where that ties into what I wanted to talk about, and I think connects with this, is would you rather have loot boxes and paid cosmetic items like Rocket League, where it's, even if it's randomized, or even if you can just purchase it outright, or would you rather do what why can't I say that today? Monster Hunter World. I've said monster wrong every single time I've said it.
Herd.
Monster Hunter World has done, or has just today, it actually finished at 6 o'clock. It finished the Palico thing for Horizon Zero Dawn. And in that, it was a timed event from January 26th through February 8th. But you had to grind away at least, I think my counter was at least 10 or 12 hours to get there. And
I've played 22 hours worth of the game. Now, like I've said before, a few of those hours have been sleeping, because the menus are so involved that if I'm tired because I've been up at because I've been up early at my job, I just fall asleep while the game's on. Whatever. I do it. So what?
Yeah, we won't judge you. I will, but not on this podcast.
But yeah, I mean, like, I think the last time I checked, it was like 22 hours, which is a lot for an event. You know what I mean? And it's smart. I guess it's smart of them to put those events up front, because that's especially with like the Horizon Zero Dawn content, because they know that people are going to be, they know that those people are going to want to put the time and effort in to get those items. That's the only reason I played it that much.
You do it early too, while everyone is just starting the game. It gives them something to grind towards, right?
Yeah, of course.
And Hitman did the same thing with timed exclusive one-time Hitman events, right? Where it was like you had like 48 hours to kill, and you had one chance to kill this contract.
Right.
And then they never brought them back as far as I can remember. But I guess my question is, would you rather have that? Because, I mean, you have more time in the game than I do.
Yeah, of course.
Throughout the week. For me, I lost some sleep last night trying to get that Palico set.
Speaking of which, did you get the other stuff that you needed?
No, I haven't touched it. I won't touch Monster Hunter probably till Saturday night again. So,
bum, bum, bum.
But here's the thing: I got the lenses right, and so I'm good to go till February 24th or whenever the Aloy set comes out, and I want that naturally.
Right. Well, here's my question though: did you log? You haven't touched it, right? So what you need to do is log in because it's past the event time, right? To see if they just took those from your inventory or not.
Well, if they did, that would be really crummy of them. But I think from other hunters I have talked to in the Monster Hunter world there on Facebook, within some groups I belong to, I think I'm okay because it sounded like several people did the same thing.
Okay.
But I would have paid $2.99 for that little Palico Watcher gear.
Yeah,
right.
I know.
I would have totally done that. And so I can't decide what I want more: randomized stuff or. Well, I don't want randomized, but do I want to pay for cosmetic items like that? Or would I rather have timed events? I know a lot of people are like, oh, DLC, pay this, pay that. You know what? I don't care. I got Rocket League for free, and you and I have both sunk probably. You sunk more than I have. I probably sunk like $30-$40 into that game.
I've sunk at least probably 150 into it.
Yeah. But that's because we love it. We support Psionics. We love what they do.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing. Like, I don't feel bad about it. I just enjoy them as a company. I think they're doing really good. I enjoy playing the game a lot, clearly. I've mentioned it every week when you're like, what are you playing? It's what I'm playing. It's what I'm always playing. So I don't mind putting the money into it like that. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say, like, with the grinding. I enjoyed getting, I enjoyed kind of the grind to get it. It was a little frustrating, and this is kind of a tangent on the topic of conversation with like there being time limits on what you can do, and on your hunts have time limits, which I guess whatever, sure. I mean, we could talk about that more at length later, but I don't know. I mean, eventually getting there. Once getting there, it was super rewarding. Right?
It was.
Even our Let's Play, I was like super excited to capture the Angerath, right?
Yeah.
I was just like flipping out because I was able to capture this dude. I think what made it was the amount of detail they put into it to make it look like Horizon Zero Dawn's what are they called? Watchers, right?
Watchers, yep.
Yeah.
I got one on my shelf, Funko Pop.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so I think they did an amazing job with that. I sent you those pictures, if you look directly at it, they have that weird digitized lens flare like they do in the original game. Mm-hmm. When you're fighting, the light turns from blue to red. All those little details that make it that much more amazing. And make it that much more worth the grind, too.
Yeah, and that's actually, there's lots of articles being written on this, so we won't have to rehash this here, but that's why a lot of people are leaving Destiny 2, because between the loot box system and the grind, it's not satisfying, and Monster Hunter is satisfying, because I gotta admit, although I lost sleep over it, it felt great taking down that Angerath with you for our Let's Play. Yeah. It also felt really good to knock out those other two missions that were right after, and then to get into that arena and take out those tiny little pterodactyl birds and get the lens. Yeah. I'm torn on this. As an adult who doesn't have a whole lot of time, who does the full-time job, who has a house to take care of, blah, 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 a nephew and all that, I'm torn on, do I want to be able to just pay the $2.99 and get the Palico? But then, like you said, or the Watcher, but then you said, and I agree, the fact I earned those lenses and now I know I just got to get the 3 other Dragonite ore that's needed for it, I'm super pumped that I earned that and I worked for it. You don't get that when you just throw your wallet and throw your money at the screen, right? And so I guess, if I have to lean one way, I hate timed events. And actually, here's the deal, this is my personal opinion. Maybe this is the happy medium for me. Give me the timed event, let me grind away. If I fail at it, give us a couple months, even if it's 3-4 months, and then put it out as optional DLC. Yeah, why not? Let the people who worked for it have it first, and then if you want to just toss it out there for people who want to pay for it for cosmetic purposes, what's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that. I think that's like the smartest idea, because you get people to initially invest, right, when you're doing these things, like right away. Because these, I mean, I don't know about you. Maybe people will be super excited because I think aren't they going to do like Street Fighter stuff too?
They are. They didn't announce how yet. It makes me wonder if it'll be another grind. But that's the other thing too that fits in with that stuff is, you have people like me who bought the game early, and obviously I convinced you to with that 20% off coupon. At the same time too, you have people who purchase the game 3-4 months later, they missed out.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, I mean, I think that's smart of them and putting up things like that, especially for PlayStation users. I mean, how huge of a game was Horizon Zero Dawn? What's going to sell your game more than adding just a little snippet of another like multi-million-dollar game?
Sold me on it.
I mean, I was very on the fence about that game, and I'm still very on the fence about the game. But that DLC or that timed event was worth it enough for me to be like, okay, yeah, let me put some time into this. Let me do what they want me to do to get to the level that I need to unlock this event, and then get the stuff that I need. So, I mean, I don't know. That's what kind of sold me on it for sure. Because again, what have we talked about with like the timed thing, like the time limit on the hunts, and the fact that each hunt is basically a boss battle. I mean, that's not super great for me. That's not like something that I'm like super excited about.
Right.
Grinding away at like one animal for 30 minutes.
I will say though, the better I get with my weapons and my gear, the more it does appeal to me.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that one weapon that you were using, I switched to. I really enjoy that. The stick thing where you can try to jump on them and stuff.
That is Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I still haven't explored all that it does. There's still definitely a lot of things that I have no clue what to do with. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The insect glaive.
Yeah, I don't know what that.
Yeah, that is Bay. I love that thing.
I don't know what the heck that. I just don't know. Like, there's like I know I've accidentally shot out the insect a couple of times, but I don't know what he does. So you know what I mean? I don't know. Whatever, it's fine.
Once you learn it, you'll feel like a badass.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
I think it's gonna wrap up talk time or Toko this week. Topic conversation. Oi. So let's move on. So next we have a little bit of reader mail. It's time to check in with the listeners, Matt, as I like to say.
Oh, we are listening to them listening.
Yeah, we got a listener mail. How about that? So Shane writes in this week, and he wanted to know what are, or if there are any, franchises we think are gaining or losing ground with each sequel or prequel that's made. So, he gave the example of Tomb Raider, and then I thought of a bunch here too. So let me rattle those off. So he mentioned Assassin's Creed too.
Sure.
And so let me rattle a couple off, and then we can talk about it for a few minutes here. Persona 5, Tomb Raider, Borderlands. What about BioShock? Metal Gear Survive, Far Cry 5, Battlefront, and then Monster Hunter.
Yeah. Well, you know me. The thing I know the most about is Assassin's Creed. I thought it did nothing but help. So at least the what you would call the Ezio years.
Yeah, they gained ground there, and then they lost it. I think after that.
Two. Oh gosh, what was it called? I forget the Brotherhood. Yes, thank you. And then the Revelations. Those that trilogy of games were awesome. And even I know people hated it, but I absolutely loved the multiplayer online stuff for that. I thought it was great.
Oh, I did too.
It was really well developed. I know a lot of people hated it. Whatever, to each their own. But I thought for an Assassin's game where you're kind of like a lone wolf, I thought it was really kind of cool how they developed that.
Yeah, that was awesome.
But then it kind of fell off, which is weird because the third one was the one I was most interested about as far as history-wise, because it's our history, right?
Right.
It's the U.S. history, and and then of course the DLC of what if George Washington would have become king? Like, I thought that was awesome as far as the DLC being like an alternate reality of what could have happened. And I thought that was great to kind of look into. And then I just think they kind of burned themselves out because it was just too many games, just one after the other. They were pumping them out year after year, and they got glitchy. People were getting angry with them because they weren't really doing much improvement, right?
Yeah.
And then Black Flag came out after a couple, or after what was, I think it was only one miss, right? Well, it was 3, and then what was the one after that? Was there Rogue before Black Flag, right?
Yeah, that was kind of a weird year because they released.
Yeah.
No, Rogue was the same year as Unity.
Oh, that's right.
And so it was Black Flag and then
That's
Rogue
right.
and
Rogue was
Unity.
for PS3.
And then, which actually it's funny you talk about being most excited for. I was most excited for the one set in 19th century London, Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
You know what happened with Syndicate? It's still sitting there unplayed.
Backlog. Exactly.
I didn't even open it up.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's, I mean, I bought the gold edition myself so I could get the Jack the Ripper, DLC.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was the same kind of thing. It was just the same game year after year. And when you're doing that, people get bored with it. People don't want to invest with the same game because then it's like they're shelling out $60 every year for what? The same kind of a thing, pretty much.
Yep.
So, whereas like a game like Rocket League, I don't mind shelling out because it's not different. I mean, maybe there's different arenas or whatever, but it's competition, so it's different every time because it's competition.
Right.
But yeah, and then Unity come out, which I thought was pretty good, but people hated it. They didn't like the multiplayer system, like the having your co-op brotherhoody kind of a thing, which I get, but I still put the time in. I still platinumed it. I still enjoyed it. But yeah, then I think I played like one mission in Syndicate. That was it.
Right. And so for me, I think about that one certainly has gone up and down. I think Origins brought them back to life.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that was, huge. Origins was but the thing was, it's because they reinvented the whole game, right?
Yeah.
They made it an RPG. They kept some of the basic things with finding all the places and collecting stuff, but it was a very different game. It was more Witcher style, leveling up, that kind of stuff. That never mattered in the other games.
Right.
You would unlock gadgets and stuff, but that never, leveling up never mattered.
Right. And so that kind of brought them back. And then what I found interesting was when I was looking at this list, I just typed out things that popped into my head. It was amazing how many did. Persona 5 is probably undoubtedly the most successful. They've just been on a steady uptick, right? 1 and 2 weren't big. 3 had a following. 4 had a following as well. And I got into 4 because it was on Vita with Golden. And then 5 just had universal praise and success. Tomb Raider certainly started off well way back in the PS1, PS2 era.
Oh, yeah.
Fell off, and now it's kind of, I want to say, moderately climbed back.
Yeah, I think the problem with it, quote unquote, climbing back, is the fact that it's not as good as Uncharted.
Yeah,
it wants to be like Uncharted. I feel like they've developed it, similarly to Uncharted, but it's just not as good. Naughty Dog just does it better.
And the exclusivity with Microsoft the 1 year hurt them too.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think that was both times, wasn't it?
No, it was just with the first one, I believe, or the second one. Second one.
Okay. Yeah. It sucks for them because I'm sure they came to that agreement before they realized that Microsoft wasn't selling systems.
Yeah.
Or they were paid a boatload of money by Microsoft, so Microsoft would hopefully sell systems. But it's not Uncharted.
Right.
So people were like, that's not like a game you're going to buy a system for. Uncharted, and I've talked to people about this who are diehard Xbox people, but they're like, man, I really want to buy PS4 for Uncharted because Uncharted is such a good game.
There's a perfect example of another one that's never had a downswing but gone up the entire time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, just continue to outdo themselves, I think. And it has to do with the story.
And just Naughty Dog, I mean, look at Last of Us, right? Last of Us Part 2 is going to be huge.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they also, I think they mocap,
They do.
a boatload of that game, if not all of it, right?
Yeah.
So I think that just adds to it.
Yeah. Borderlands, when that third one comes out, when Gearbox releases that's going to explode. I think Metal Gear is a perfect example of, the whole controversy with Hideo Kojima. Perfect example, Survive, I don't expect to do anything. It's basically a reskinned Phantom Pain, right?
Right, exactly. This is like Phantom Pain with zombies. Oh, well, so what?
Far Cry 5, obviously, I think Far Cry, starting with 3, has just hit a stride.
Yeah.
Primal wasn't too big of a deal, I think, but...
Which is a shame, because it's probably one of the better games. I thought it just expanded on 4 in better ways, and it had nice systems. It had better systems to it. Like I said, like the owl, like I mentioned before.
Right.
The owl was like a huge system, and be able to tame animals. That was from 4, but the fact that they kind of kept that, I don't know. I thought Primal was... I felt Primal was kind of underrated, and probably had to do with the fact that it was the subject matter. I think the whole thing is subtitled because they're all cavemen.
Oh, right.
And I'm a slow reader. I don't want to be reading subtitles the whole time. I just don't, But I still played it. I still enjoyed it. But I mean, I'm sure that turned a lot of people off.
I think the last one, too, that jumps out to me here, obviously Battlefront, we know, tanked comparatively, but Monster Hunter. There again, I couldn't say monster. Monster Hunter, right? This is the biggest following it's had outside of Japan, and they've released tons of those on the PSP, 3DS. And so I think that is a perfect example of another franchise that has found its stride with more sequels because they finally understand what they're doing. And that's actually what I wonder about with something like BioShock, because you don't have Ken Levine anymore. He's moved on. He's doing his own thing. Right. And I know they don't want to kill that franchise. 2K wants to keep that franchise alive, just like they want to keep Borderlands alive and Gearbox to keep that alive. I don't know that it can have the impact. Nothing will ever touch the first one. The second one was okay. The third one is divisive between people. Some people loved it. Some people hated it. I personally found a kid that loved it. Yeah, and I know you did too. But you can't replicate that first one, so I don't know what you do with the world of BioShock. I think Levine was smart to leave it alone. I'm content with where it ended. I don't need anything else.
Even the first one was a little bit divisive because, the reveal comes, an hour or so before you even finish the game?
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, I got to do this last boss battle that's like kind of doesn't really make a difference or doesn't make sense. Right. So I think Levine learned from that and, at least put the reveal at the end of Infinite. But yeah, I don't know. I think it goes back to the story, right? Mm-hmm. Like, not the Tomb Raider's bad, but Uncharted is better written. BioShock 1 and Infinite are better than 2 because they are better written. Like, 2 was developed by a different studio because they wanted to churn one out, and he's like, well, I'm not going to just do that yet because I'm not going to just churn these out like one after the other.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I agree.
So I think some of it has to do with the people involved, the writing, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I think either way, what I appreciate most about Sony, this is why I'm a PlayStation fan, I know a lot of those are multi-platform, but what I appreciate about Sony is that they are willing to stick their neck out for new and original type IPs. And so Horizon Zero Dawn naturally exploded, but and it's weird because it's not a sequel, right? But it's a different type from a studio. However, I do think that the second one will just be even more massive.
Oh my gosh, it'll be nuts.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. But I thank Shane for writing in this week. I thought that was an interesting idea and something worth talking about here for a bit because it is one of those things where we get a lot of sequels every year, and I'm super excited for Ni no Kuni 2, even though I never finished the first one. I'm actually might go back and try and do that beforehand, or at least play more of it.
Yeah.
But I do think in a place where franchises are so important to so many companies, it's important to try and gain with everyone. And we didn't even talk about Fallout, where Fallout 3, they kind of peaked, and Fallout 4 was not as well received. But, that's the game where you take with the franchise.
Good, though. I mean, I still enjoyed Fallout 4. I never completed it, but...
Well, see, I platinumed it, and afterwards I was like, well, shoot, I enjoyed 3. Again, it's just like some of the games we were talking about earlier, or like BioShock. You can't replicate that coming out of the vault moment in 3.
Yeah.
It's so hard to replicate that, right? And so New Vegas was great, but again, nothing will touch 3. And it's just, sometimes you hit the peak and you just can't come back from it,
Yeah.
So, once again, Shane, thanks for that. Let's go ahead and take care of the PS drop. Now, Matt, there are not a whole lot of games out this week. We're just going to blow through them quickly.
Fine.
And then, I've got something special for you.
Oh,
so
fantastical.
Out 2/8, which is today, the day we're recording. It's amazing how many of those games come out on Thursdays now. Aegis Defenders. Explore, build, and defend in this unique mashup of action, platformer, and tower defense. You play as a team of ruined hunters searching for the one thing that can save their village, a legendary weapon known as Aegis.
Ooh, sweet, sweet Aegis.
Bleed 2 is out on PS4 and digital this week.
Well,
I must have missed out on Bleed 1.
So say, if you didn't get enough of Bleed 1, here's the sequel.
A furiously fun and fast-paced action arcade game, Bleed 2 welcomes back pink-haired heroine Rin, the world's greatest and only remaining hero, as she fights to defend the globe from an invading force of villains. Dandara is out this week on PS4 digital. I like the cover art for this. It looks intriguing. In a bizarre universe where the oppressed are on the brink of oblivion, Dandara has awoken to reshape the world. The world of Salt hangs on the brink of collapse. The citizens, once free spirits, now stand oppressed and isolated. But not all is lost, for out of this ether of fear arises a heroine, a ray of hope. Her name is Dandara.
Ooh, fancy.
Dragon Sinker is on PS4 and PS Vita digital this week. Descendants of a Legend. Set out in search of the legendary weapons to free the world from the rule of Virmvarg. Employing, I want to say it because it looks like Old
Good
English,
start.
but it also looks like modern English.
Sure.
Employing 8-bit graphics and sound that hark back to the golden era of RPGs, Dragon Sinker brings a visual and audio feast to the table of hungry gamers starving for the nostalgia of great classics of yesteryear. Heroine Anthem 0 Episode 1 is out PS4 digital, out today, 2/8.
Could they think of a longer title?
I know. I had to take a breath almost in the middle of that. With an emotionally resonating soundtrack and beautiful visual art style, Heroine Anthem 0 is the first episode in an epic fantasy adventure game from Wind Thunder Studio. Really cool art. Don't know if I'll look at it ever again. Marooners is out on PS4 digital.
Marooners.
Party game madness. Experience switcheroo chaos as the action jumps between multiple intense minigames when you least expect it, or take the challenge of completing a full playthrough of each minigame once. Face different game types and surprise bonus stages.
The only thing I like about that game is they use the word switcheroo in the description.
Yeah, agreed. Mercenary Kings Reloaded Edition is out on PS4, PS Vita digital. I think I bought this back in the day. I do.
And now you can reload it. Hey-o.
Well, you know what? I actually looked it up, and if you have the Mercenary Kings edition, this one's free.
Huh.
In this frantic 2D action game, you're part of Mercenary Kings, the most skilled team of warriors for hire on Earth. But when your comrades have fallen and the fearsome forces of Claw have seized an island-wide top-secret laboratory base, you must do what it takes to stop them. Out also this week, digital retail tomorrow, 2/9 on PS4. 7 Deadly Sins, The Knights of Britannia. So Britannia makes a reappearance this week.
Oh, yes.
Assemble the 7 Deadly Sins and fight to save the Kingdom of Leonis. Journey through Britannia and play through memorable fights with famous characters such as Melodius, Ban, Hawk, and others in all of their unique fighting styles. I wonder if that's based on the anime 7 Deadly Sins.
Who could forget Melodius? Melodius.
There's a pig too, apparently. I wonder if that's who Melodius is.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's nothing more melodious than a pig.
I'm pretty sure I've seen that anime on Netflix when I'm browsing through Netflix. I think that's an anime.
Of course it is.
2 more here. Under
Ooh.
Night in Birth X Late ST.
What?
Under Night in Birth, one word, hyphenated, XEXE, late, brackets, ST.
Sorry, do you need a breathing machine for these titles this week?
I think I do.
Take some oxygen.
What
Good
are
Lord.
they?
What's going on?
I don't know. This one's on PS4, PS3, wow, PS Vita, digital and retail, out 2/9 tomorrow. Under Night in Birth X Late. Oh, I get it. It's like latest, but there's brackets around the S and T, so you can say late or latest. I think that's what they were going for.
Fancy.
Expands upon the original fighting game, including new characters, a robust story mode, tutorial mode, enhanced online battles, and more. So that ST must have been called X Late, and then ST is, kind of like the reloaded edition.
Yeah. All right, let me guess the last title.
Oh, okay. Well, let me just read you like half of a sentence from it. The awe of unforgettable world and towering creatures for a new generation of gamers.
What?
This game introduces the awe of its unforgettable world and towering creatures to a new generation of gamers. Anything else would give it away.
It's Monster Hunter World.
I'm gonna have to shame you on this one. It's Shadow of Colossus.
Oh, wah, wah.
PS4 digital and retail. So rebuilt from the ground up by Blue Point Games in Japan studio, Shadow of Colossus on PS4 introduces the awe of its unforgettable world and towering creatures to a new generation of gamers. I couldn't read Blue Point Games, Japan studio. None of that. It would have probably given it away.
None of that would have given it away for me. I don't know any of those things.
I read the title and you're like, Monster Hunter
like
World.
Shadow of Colossus. I'm like, what's that?
Oh, such a good game. I can't wait to play it again.
The 4 people listening are really mad that I said that.
That's going to complete it for the PS drop. So once again, we will go ahead and move on. Speaking of moving on, let's go ahead and I'm just going to point out that there are some trophies this week. I just want to highlight them real quick.
Okay.
Normally we would do what would Matt do for that trophy. There is a game out this week I was going to do that for. I'm going to save it for next week because I don't think it's I apologize. I don't think it's out yet. I have to check the date on it. I'm pretty sure it's not though.
Okay.
And so we'll save that one because I have a special game for you here short. Normal, it is a platinum. There is the normal defeat, the bosses.
Yeah.
But there are certain ways of defeating ones. And so defeating Colossus 8 before it can turn back over, defeating Colossus 3 without breaking his wrist guard. So there are some trick ones to defeating some of the bosses. Eat a piece of fruit, which I didn't even know there was fruit in the game. I don't remember that from when I played it. There are the regular defeat ones, right? Because
this is the remastered edition. This is a renewed edition, man. There's fruit in this edition. How did you not know that?
Well, from what I also heard, and I thought this was really interesting, there are gold coins in the game that were not in the original, and no one knows why they're there. But so far, they found like 12 or 13 of them or something like that. And there's no trophy connected with them, which is even more mysterious, right?
Ooh. Secret boss. Secret Colossus that you have to be in the shadow of.
So I really do wonder what that is. That's not a trophy at all. One of the trophies I thought is interesting is it's called Speed Demon, and it's complete hard mode in under 5 hours, 41 minutes, and 28 seconds.
What?
That is very specific.
Yeah, what's the arbitrary number? Did the developers well, we can do it in like 5 hours, 40 minutes, but let's just throw them some minutes and seconds. Let's give them a minute and a half extra.
Yeah, so I don't know what to do with that is. I just thought that was kind of a cool little trophy there. Matt, are you ready?
No, I have a question. The ones that you mentioned before, like the specific things where you have to do things to the guys, do they have weird titles?
Grounded Scaler, which is defeat the one before it can turn back over. And I like this one, Resist the Wrist.
See, I was going to say it's all in the wrist.
Oh, that would have been a good one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even really read the trophy numbers. Or the titles. I was actually looking more at just what they were because I don't remember on PS3 if it had trophies. If I have them or not, I'll have to look. But it's kind of neat because... Oh, no, it wasn't on PS3. Why am I saying that? On PS2. So there weren't trophies.
Right.
And so I like that they've thrown these all in there. I'm gonna have to get that game. There's just no ifs, ands, and buts about it. It's just I watched a Let's Play of it and I sent it to you.
Another thing to add to the backlog.
Yeah. The game that I have for you today, Matt, is called. And it's in lieu of what would Matt do for that trophy this week. We're gonna switch it up. If you guys like it, let us know. In the comments, either on YouTube or on iTunes, would be a great place to rate and subscribe to us. And Matt, if you haven't done that yet, you should really probably rate your own show.
Oh yeah, probably.
But
thumbs down.
Oh, how dare you!
Except for that intro music, thumbs up.
Oh,
plus.
that intro music. Just wait till we get some sweet
it's
bumpers.
Too sweet. Oh my gosh.
So anyway, the game we're gonna call I call it Quota.
Ooh, quote.
So I'll quote a game, and you'll guess what it is.
Okay.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to put 60 seconds on a clock.
Okay.
And we're going to see how many of these you can get through. And so what I did today was I amassed a large list, and you won't get through them all, I guarantee it. I amassed a large list of one-liners from famous video games. And what I did was I made sure it was games that you probably have played. Right. Okay. So that like Halo, I never touched. And
so there's not dead air.
Did.
So there's not dead air for like 60 seconds.
Well, here's the deal. I'm gonna read off the quote as quick as I can, while still being audible. Mm-hmm. And you tell me the character who said it, or the character, because some of these are too easy without the character. I need the character. If you can give me the game, I'll take that. But some of them are inexcusable, but I'll give you a
terrible names, but okay.
But let's try for the character. And then, so you're going to go through. If you don't know it, you can say pass, and I'll move to the next one.
Okay.
And so we're going to get ready. I'm going to put 60 seconds on the clock here. Let me get my little countdown going. All right. Are you ready, Matt?
Oh, I'm ready as I'll ever be.
And 60 seconds on the clock. Get over here.
Scorpion.
Perfect. We all make choices in life, but in the end, our choices make us.
Oh my gosh. Is that from Infinite?
No. Bring me a bucket and I'll show you a bucket.
That's from Infinite.
No.
What?
It's a funny thing, ambition. It can only take one sublime height or harrowing depth, and sometimes they are one and the same.
BioShock.
Nope. No gods or kings, only man.
That's BioShock.
Yep. It's time to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of gum.
That's Duke Nukem for sure.
If history only remembers 1 in 1,000 of us, then the future will be filled with stories of who we were and what we did.
What?
Pass?
Pass.
Okay. Last one. War never changes.
War never changes. Battlefield series. All of them.
Come on. Time's up. You're kidding, right? Please tell me you're kidding.
War never changes? I don't know.
Fallout 3, narrator.
Oh.
War never changes.
That makes sense.
Let me ask you, what have you gotten this one? Waka 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 waka.
No.
Pac-Man.
What? Oh. Well, that's because you're doing it wrong. Like,
oh, okay. My apologies. How about this one? Boom shakalaka.
Is it the shoes? That's NBA Jam, baby.
Yep. How about this one? The world is a diagonal. I am the balancing point.
Ooh, that's a good one, but I do not know what that is.
That's Voss from Far Cry 3.
Nice.
Let's see. What you've got in this one? It's the fear that gives men wings.
It's the fear that gives men wings. Was that Infinite?
No, I love how BioShock was. You know what's funny is I actually had 3 BioShock quotes on here, and you've thrown it out like 7 times. No, that was actually Max Payne.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
How about this one? There are no choices, nothing but a straight line.
That's Infinite.
That's also Max Payne.
What?
Yep. Let me throw this one out. You stop me as soon as you get it, because you're terrible at this.
I'm terrible.
This one's a monologue. Did I ever tell you what the definition of insanity is? Insanity is doing the exact same freaking thing over and over again, expecting shit to change. That is crazy. The first time somebody told me that, I don't know. I thought they were bullshitting me, so I shot him. The thing is, he was right.
Is that Pagan Min, Far Cry 4?
No, it's Far Cry 3. That's Voss again.
Oh, Voss again? Okay.
Yeah, remember when he's having that monologue with, or not? Well, I guess monologue. Yeah, to you. That's one of my favorite scenes in any game.
Yeah.
He's a great villain.
Okay, you gotta go back to the beginning, to all the ones I missed, though.
Okay, so
I have to know.
Yeah, so we all make choices in life, but in the end, our choices make us. That was Andrew Ryan, BioShock. That was the one time you didn't guess it.
Yeah.
Bring Me a Bucket and I'll Show You a Bucket was Borderlands 2. It was Psycho. One of the Psychos.
Yeah.
It's a funny thing, ambition. It can take one to sublime heights or harrowing depths, and sometimes they are one and the same, was actually Emily Caldwin from Dishonored. Let's see. The one that you passed on, if history only remembers 1 in 1,000 of us, then the future will be filled with stories of who we were and what we did, was actually from Battlefield. Battlefield 1. So I think that was like in the narration, and they might have used it in the trailer too.
Yeah.
War Never Changes Again was Fallout 3.
I was terrible at that.
You were terrible, but that was good.
I kept thinking BioShock because like that's all that was on my mind. Like, oh, that could so apply to BioShock. I mean, of course they need buckets in Rapture.
Yeah. And then I love the fact that I gave you a BioShock one. We all make choices in life, and you're like, I don't know. And I don't even remember what you threw off for that one.
Oh, good Lord.
So that's how you play Quota, where I quota a game, and quota a game, and I'm saying it wrong, quota game. And
Quote a game.
Yeah. You did not fill the quota today.
I did not. Bum, bum, bum,
All right, Matt. That's going to close things out today.
Yeah.
I just want to say lastly, and we'll get back to trophy naming next week. I have a great game for you. And then if you like this game, I'm going to come up with maybe some other ones as well for us to do. But if you do have a suggestion for something you want to see Matt and I do on the podcast, hit me up on Facebook. There's a We Are One, You Are Two fan page. There's a group page. Hit me up on Twitter at PSGamerFans with a Z. Find us at weare1you2@gmail.com. Leave some comments on our iTunes page. If you don't know how to do that, open up your iTunes, go to podcasts, and search for our name. You can also click on the link at our Patreon. I have the links for almost everywhere that we are with there. We're on Stitcher. But go over to Patreon, too, if you like this one. Give us $1. Give us $2, and you get access to our Let's Plays. I believe that's the tier I have it set at. I don't think I have it set at the $5 one. And if I'm wrong, you can email me, because I just like emails.
And he'll make a $2 tier.
That's right. $5 gets you your suggestion for topic of the show. You know, we have all kinds of cool things. If I raise, $50, I'm going to do stuff. If I raise $100, I'm going to do stuff. If I can raise $1,000 a month, I'm going to do stuff. So go over there and check all those out. All kinds of incentives for you guys, including a care package if you're one of the top donators as well. So all kinds of good stuff if you're willing to donate. Matt, anything else you want to say?
No, I think that's it.
All right.
I think we've covered it all today.
Thanks, guys, for joining us. Until next time, game on.
Game on. This is the new outro music.
It's
for
so
this
new.
week. It is the new outro
Changes
music.
every week.
It changes every week, so we say goodbye.
Bye-bye. Oh, man.
Good times. I better hit stop.